This is... Jesus, it has been way too long. I have... Jesus, okay, I'm still dealing with hiccups since this afternoon it has not been fun. Okay, whatever. Anyways, this is extremely on short notice. I know this is on extremely short notice, and I get that I did not give enough time, like, in advance for this. I'm also, like, as we speak, I am still setting stuff up, and I have been busy all day with doing things. But I wanted to do a YouTube stream for the first time ever. I wanted to do a YouTube stream since absolutely forever, and what better time than now to do it, you know? I gotta set up my laptop though, because I do not have a second monitor to put stuff on, so this is gonna be absolutely weird. Hey, Creation! How are you doing, my man? I hope you are doing absolutely fantastic, and that things are going great. It is long time no see, buddy. Let me see. YouTube. And my laptop is not connected to the internet. That is fantastic. So, that's what's going to happen. Nice. I'm doing, man. Hope you're well. Hey, that's awesome. I hope you're doing fantastic. Ugh, my voice is also a little bit hoarse, so I apologize for that in advance. I am still trying to figure everything out. Right now my laptop is just sitting on my computer because I have no better place to put this. This is an extremely scuffed setup. Hey, Derelius. Hi, how are you doing? How are you doing, my man? Ooh. Ooh. So, alright. What the agenda... Jesus. Fucking hiccups. Agenda for today. We are going to be talking about how I edit my videos, and I'm giving y'all I'm gonna give y'all a very in-depth description of how I do every single one of my videos, and go into all of the nitty-gritty and everything. I am not even logged into YouTube normally here. That is absolutely tragic. Oh, Jesus. Hiccups absolutely fucking suck. That should be the password. And it is. Perfect. Okay, good. Alright, so that's basically what's happening today. We are going to be going over literally everything and anything as to how I make my videos. And we're going to do that by looking at my most recent video, Newcastle. So I'm going to open up both. Right, I'm going to open up both Apex, Vegas as well as After Effects, and we're going into all of the nitty-gritty. Okay, I should still have my project file, so it shouldn't be. Oh my god, no way. Vegas, you are not going to build video proxies for every... Oh, that was quick, never mind. Alright, anyways. So, that is the current agenda. Let's get right into it. So, we're going to go ahead and start off with... The way I always make my videos is I always start off by... Okay, where's the live streaming thing? I have to find that. I don't know how Content. Live. Here we go. Okay, well that's not what I was looking for in the slightest. Go live. Here we go. There we go. Nice. Okay. Alright, now I have this on my laptop and now I can actually, read chat better. It's still really scuffed because, y'all, this is how my thing is set up right now. My laptop is just on top of my computer. Because I really need a second monitor. An actual dedicated second monitor. This is not fun. There we go. Okay, so, let's go ahead over into Live Desktop, and we're gonna go ahead and start off by looking at my project file. This is... Actually, let me also start recording. So, alright. So going into the whole nitty-gritty of this. This is my project file in a whole nutshell. We have 29 tracks, 16 of which are exclusively video, a whole watermark layer up at the top, my main videos and everything, game audio of me from from my recordings, and then music, and all my other sound clips go at the below that. Now, above my main is usually where I put all my effects and everything, and yeah. So, now, before we even consider... So, typically whenever I make an EXE, before I even consider actually... Well, that's absolutely fantastic. Okay, I thought it was gonna crash on me, but it did not. That's good. So, before I even consider anything when I'm making EXEs, typically what I always like to do is I look at my music and see what I have. I will literally play whatever music I have, whether it is Eurobeat music, as in this entire folder. Let's see, Fukirera, as well as Chase, some of the JoJo songs as well. Literally everything and anything I have exclusively within this. I always play music because I want to see, okay, what is going to be the best way to... How am I going to be able to best capture what I want to do? Or even just how do I want to set the mood for the entire video? When you select music for this, basically it sets the entire mood for your video and helps you to figure out where you're going to want to take your EXE. So sometimes if I want my montage to be a bit more gritty, or if I wanted to focus more on just raw kills that I get in Apex, then I will probably use something like Doom Eternal music, or something like maybe even funk music. A current trend with EXEs is that it's always been... The most current trend, honestly, with EXEs is using really silly music, and using music, that fits it better, I guess fits the whole humor style of EXEs better. If we look at Gooflol, for example, and look and see... Let's see what Gooflol did for Vantage, actually. So, let's say...
They try to still mine the bowl. Instead of enjoying when the refrigerator goes.
Hey, just wondering, is this an out of...
Okay, so, yeah, obviously a lot of it, consistent BPM, you constantly keep going through with it. Jesus, I am saying stuff. I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all, I am extremely tired. I had such a long night last night, and I'm just doing this on the whim. I'm not even gonna lie. Anyways, going forward, we are typically, a lot more silly, a lot more goofy, lighthearted music is the choice that people will want to use for their EXEs, and by all means, you can use that too. So, typically that's what everyone likes to do. You don't have to do it, but, you know, whatever you can do. If you want to use Eurobeat, that's perfectly fine. I've noticed some people use, like, you know, have your JDM funk music in theirs as well, or even just like really silly music as a whole, honestly. Really, the music that you choose to put in is up to you. You can, whatever you want to do, just go do it. You can, I put Metal Gear Rising music in, I put rock music, I put really heavy metal music at some times. I put Doom Eternal in this video. Like, really, whatever you want to do with your music, honestly. And whatever you find works well. Even Kirby music works well with EXEs. EXEs are extremely versatile when it comes to editing them. So, that is what I do. I listen for hours and hours and just try and figure out what music I want to do. Sometimes it will just take me, like, yeah, sometimes I will literally just listen to music for weeks and just figure out what I want to do before I even lay anything down. It's pretty late for me where I'm at, man, so I'm gonna dip and watch the stream later. If you leave it up, it'll be good to see how you do some things. Have a good stream. Hey, good to see your creation. Honestly, have a good sleep, my man. Good to see you. So, that is what I do. I always isolate the music that I want to put in, and I start, and I'm just like thinking, okay, now I want to brainstorm and I want to think, what do I want to happen in all of this? So as I'm laying down the music, I always put markers, and I start brainstorming what the hell I want to do, and figuring out, like, okay, how can I, like, implement a really funny scene in this, or whatever. So, that's what I do. I start off by laying down more music, laying down some sound effects. This scene in particular, I had to animate entirely in Source Filmmaker, so I envisioned the entire scene, and had it all voiced out and everything before I even considered doing, like, anything else with it. So I wanted to transition from this really goofy, lighthearted scene with Lifeline and Crypto into, holy shit, Newcastle is going to be the replacement for Lifeline. That is the mood that I wanted to put within this whole entire scene, and I wanted to let my music make that fact alone. So, I think background music may be a bit too loud. Okay, let me double check. Alright, hang on, I'll lower it a little bit. Your voice is kind of overlapping with it a bit. Okay, here, how does that sound? I'm also gonna raise my microphone up all the way. Let me know how that sounds. So, what is the editing is Vegas Pro. That's what it is. Anyways, going through with it. I'm thinking over here, I want to do some more camera pans. I want to do some interesting shots with Newcastle flexing his biceps. And then, obviously, smash intro screen right around there. Then I start transitioning into the usual mouse clips that I have done. Y'all have seen this. I wanted Newcastle to smash in over here, and afterwards, with the music laid down, when I get to a point where I realize that, like, it's not going to be hard edits and it's going to mainly just be gameplay clips, I start continuing to put them in and going through there. So here is literally just nothing but clips. Nothing but gameplay clips, and same thing over here. I had a transition point where I wanted to do a really cool scene, then more and more gameplay clips. And when I start this off, I always try and lay everything out, and I try and make sure that I have my idea set before I have most of the edits done. So, as I'm doing that, I continue laying down more clips, barely editing them, just laying down the clips and seeing how I like the pacing, and cutting everything up. So, going through that, and then at the end, whenever I have funny moments, I just lay all my clips and then just edit it straight on. That's usually how I do funny moments. But for But for montage stuff, I always do music research. Then I continue to... Jesus, chat, how do you stop hiccups? I'm gonna be completely real. These hiccups are absolutely killing me right now. I have held my breath like at least 15 times, and it is insanely annoying trying to deal with this. Okay. Anyways, so let's go ahead and start off with the whole editing breakdowns. So
I like Lifeline. She is fun and essential to my team.
And new update just came out!
Ooh!
alright, so we're gonna break this scene down specifically in After Effects. So we're gonna switch over to After Effects for now, just to see how this whole shot was done. So, I originally started off with only the animation layer that I spent a stupid amount of time trying to figure out. And I just started... Oh, here it is. Okay, fit. Perfect. And there is absolutely nothing within this clip. I think if you drink something warm or hot, it should reduce it. Good work. Good soup works for me. Okay, thank you. I'll try. There is nothing to this clip at all. It is just lighting that is done in Source Filmmaker with extra green screens on top of it and some lighting here and there. This is all I started off with. Then what I started doing, I split it up into its respective parts, and I added this text over here with a drop shadow and this shape, just to mimic the idea that like this is an actual player in the game. Going forward, I continue tracking Lifeline's head movement. And then I did the same over here for Crypto, as Crypto just walks in. Also, funny Easter egg. Anyways, going through here, I started adding explosion effects, adding glow around Lifeline, and just trying to make this shot a lot more believable. We have, in this whole thing, the background shot. Actually, yeah, we have Lifeline herself, the explosion, which I actually just overlaid in front, then a shockwave burst, right over there, this gray moving blur to mimic the idea that Newcastle just landed. Again, this is over on top of Lifeline. I haven't actually put this behind Lifeline yet, but I wanted to start getting everything down. So that's what I did. Then afterwards, I actually isolated Lifeline. And really, yeah, there's really nothing too much going on here, just an explosion effect with a bit of glow, the shockwave burst, the blur, Lifeline completely isolated and masked out. For this one over here, what I actually did was I implemented layer styles and inner glow. And what this is basically telling After Effects to do is we want to go ahead and add a glow onto Lifeline. And I just start, and yeah, so that just tells After Effects, okay, within the entirety of this mask, we're just going to add an inner glow to it. So, with that done, and over time too, I should also mention I animated it so that it either glows a lot, and then afterwards goes back down. So then afterwards, I added the header, and also, consequently, hang on, there's nothing for that. Okay. How did I make that glow? I'm trying to remember. Anyways, we also have a dust wave, which is really not too noticeable at first, but it just kind of it's just there to really add realism and just make it a little bit more believable. Then we have a dirt hit effect that I just put on top of it. Make it actually feel like something exploded into the ground. And that is literally all I did for that scene. Short, simple, to the point. And then when I imported it into Vegas, I went in and added a bit of camera shake to it and increased the brightness a absolute crazy ton. So, going from there, then I actually started with introducing Newcastle. So, After Effects is also being very wonky and is not letting me see what is going on. So, I didn't do much with this scene other than just... I didn't do much with this scene other than just adding the tracker to Lifeline's head. Let me go back over here because After Effects is not cooperating in the slightest. With this scene, all I did was I just added that player name header and just increase the brightness on it. Make it seem that it's actually under the spotlight over here. Now, here we go. Yep, now we're back. Now, for this whole scene was a trip. So, starting off, we have our actual scene right over here. All I just did with this was I added Keylight and Advanced Spill Suppressor to completely remove any instance of the green that was there. So after I did that, I added another tracker on Lifeline, specifically on her shoulder, and then added the header above her name. This also has the brightness and contrast too, because yet again, there's another spotlight. I added fire embers right in front of Lifeline and Newcastle. Then I added this right behind them. I added even more embers, this time much bigger. I added this sort of fire aura thing that I actually changed. So originally the color of this was blue, if I remember correctly. Let's see if I can find where the actual effect is. Here we go. So it's this sort of looping fire aura that I added behind him, and then I just added extra glow so that it is quite a bit more prominent. Then I added these things called fire lines. So I added basically anime speed lines, put it right behind Newcastle, and then rotated it. Make it seem like there's an immense amount of energy that's coming right from behind him. Then we have these wall fires over here, which I actually, if you look over here, duplicated again because the clip was too short for me to actually take any big advantage off of it. So, with all of that in place, I started... With all of that in place, that is basically all that effect really is. So, nice. And then, let me double check. Okay. Right, yep, that's literally all that scene is. And then, the other scenes... Okay. And After Effects is being stupid once again. Jesus Christ. Every time it does this. Here we go. Now that's better. So, this time, it was a little bit weird considering Newcastle was moving because of the camera shake that I implemented in Source Filmmaker. So, I started off by adding a fade-in to Newcastle, just with a black solid, and changing the opacity over time. Then what I did was re-added the fire lines from before, but this time adding rotations and actually tracking the movement behind him manually. Then I added the wall fire again, and I did that exact same process and added motion blur afterwards. And the embers I actually just left completely alone. So we do that and make sure that it seems accurate. And for the next scenes, we do the exact same thing. Add the fade in, add the fire lines, track that with the motion, and add the embers and the wall fire. The next scene, we have the fire lines yet again. This time I parented the wall fires to the fire lines, which honestly you could have done. Hi Jade, hello. Make me mod. Yes. You are now a mod. Pure nepotism, but it's... I find that funny. The absolute amount of nepotism that is happening right now. Also, how are you doing, Jade? I hope you're doing great. Jesus, the hiccups. Whew, okay. So, going from there, we have all of that added in. The wall fires, the embers, as well as the actual C9 clip. Then I also had this adjustment layer originally that I didn't even use, so that actually could have probably just been taken out. Yeah, that could have just been taken out. I don't know why I had that. Actually, no, keep that in. That might have been important. I completely forget why. Transform wasn't even animated. There's no actual effects on it. Anyways, so with all of that in place, with the camera moving towards Newcastle, I wanted to make sure that everything else would be tracked with it too. So with the wall fires added in place, as well as the little bit of directional blur that they have, over time they're just moving right in front of Newcastle. But once again, After Effects is being super stupid. I don't know why. This project specifically, I've always had this issue where it would just take absolutely... Here we go. Now, I rotated it over to this way, and then turned the opacity down, and then right now, I kept the embers in place, added another explosion behind Newcastle, and then I created these sort of explosion lines that you see in the background. So these explosion lines, actually, it's more anime speed lines. But what I did with this was I wanted only like these glowing portions here, so I added levels to make it a lot more bright, shift channels so that it takes its alpha from how bright it is. But the way you do that is by changing this to luminance. Then added a directional blur just to make sure that there wasn't like any weird artifacts on the actual image. And then shift channels again, and taking the alpha actually from green, since there's no green in the image. That's what made all those bright streaks actually isolated. So, taking that off, actually, yeah, going back to the main comp, we have that, as well as another composition to actually modulate the glow around Newcastle. Literally, all I did was I just copied Newcastle and then added an inner glow that just changes over time. That's all there is to this. There's no other like random tricks, no other random stuff. That's all that there is to that. Then I also added a bunch of masks with and then I added a whole bunch of masks to basically modulate the glow. And I ended up changing my mind sort of halfway through this. I ended up only keeping, I think, one of these, if I remember correctly. I forget specifically which ones, but that's what ended up happening. So, with all of that used, then I start adding all of the text composition. So I start adding the paint splotch. I use a position thing to move it from up, and then in addition to that, use wiggle expressions to basically just shake it around a little bit. If you have After Effects, this is... Why do you use oval mask for your highlights and other stuff? Because it basically, when I use the stupid hiccups are really frustrating me, Jesus Christ. When I use oval masks like I did for Newcastle, basically that was my way of just kind of reducing some of the harshness of the actual lighting. So if we look at, let's say, this mask over here, like, if I were to add subtract, it just basically makes it less opaque and like actually makes the lighting more correct. Because if I had none of these, it wouldn't look as good. Right now it actually looks fine because, like, again, most of the lighting is right behind Newcastle, and because there's a giant explosion, so that actually takes up a lot of volume behind him and basically essentially creates this giant rim light right behind him. So I kind of ignored the idea of using the oval mask, but they really help in situations where if you need to tone down some of the lighting a bit when you create your own glow composition. It just helps to tone it down a little bit, especially in certain areas where there might not actually be any lighting. So then going forward, if it will load this, I don't think After Effects kind of struggling a bit right now. We have the actual text compositions for Newcastle. All this is a 3D text layer with each of the bits of text moving up. I started by doing the same thing so all of these are just moving down. What is it? Up, down, up, down, up, down. And when there's the A actually does a sort of a bit of a flip around, and then it moves back down and settles into place. And then for all of these layers, I just copied them, changed the color to black, and then moved it a little bit behind. Give a sort of like fake shadow effect. So then after that, we have this bottom bar over here, which is just in front, and it expands right when this explosion happens. Puts a lot more focus on Newcastle rather than the explosion. And we have a top bar that's right behind Newcastle that also does the same thing, just from the top. So that is quite literally all of this whole thing. And then we just have an adjustment layer just as a bright flash that just sync to the music. That is all that there is to that intro scene. Everything looks scary. Like, it looks scary at first, but trust me, everything has a purpose within my projects. After Effects looks scary? Yes, it does. I completely agree. After Effects is kind of like the Blender of video editing software, if I'm going to be completely real. Now, going from here and going back into Vegas, all I add onto this is just this black solid that I just animated a mask over. That is all that I did for that. Now let's go ahead and continue playing forward and analyzing more of this. I'm going to change this to quarter just so this can load a bit quicker. Okay, so before we actually get into the clips, we have this whole scene where I wanted to introduce the actual mouse spinning in. This whole thing serves as a transition sequence from seeing Newcastle and then going into the gameplay clip. This is just like that little bit of in between. This is like just this is an in-between section, if you will, just to transition from that whole edit sequence into the actual gameplay clips and not taking the viewer right into it. I've gotten used to it since it's literally the only thing I use. I just don't use Premiere and only AE. I'm not even kidding. That's what MP Edits does for all of his edits. And I cannot understand people who only use After Effects for it, like edits, because it's just crazy. The mouse cursor is an AJ signature. It is probably one of my favorite effects. It's probably one of like my favorite motifs, honestly, in my edits. I'm not gonna lie. It's so much fun to do. So, going through this, again, this whole scene is just to sort of just serve as a transition point into the clips. So, we have this clip below. It just moves in slightly, and with some slight color correction adjustments to fit what happened before, just so the effect, like, transition isn't as harsh. Then we have the mouse rotating in, and then we go in, transition, go from there. Then we zoom in on Newcastle. I have two Newcastle layers, actually isolated out, one on top of the other, and I animated this bottom one over here so that when the mouse grabs it, it actually moves out of the way and reveals Newcastle. So all really that's just being done here is just constant amounts of blur mode curves, as well as, yeah, just a crap ton of blur mode curves, with this section being directly transferred from the mouse animation over here. So for the mouse animations, we have one effect specifically for, actually, yeah, let me also turn this on. So we have a singular, okay, let me just get this, and I just have to refresh my mind for this. So looking at blur mode curves, we have one effect that controls where it actually is in time. So if I were to actually remove some of this, you'll see that it just moves to the side and then does a swivel around. This one effect controls the rotation, while this other controls the actual transform in X and Y. So we have every single bit of this being automated into different effects. Because the thing is with Vegas, if I were to like just change this right now and rotate this, it would change. Actually, I have to go to the other effect to do this. If I were to go into this effect here where the Shift X and Shift Y is being rotated, it rotates the entire clip. When I want to just rotate only the mouse, I separate it into another clip and make sure that it's centered. So that continues moving through, and I'm using all different keyframes spaced out to just give that sort of fake illusion. Because if I were to have every single one of these keyframes aligned, it would just be going from here to 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 here. That's all that there is to that. So, and then afterwards there's a little bit of a blur when it rotates, and it switches actually to, it switches in between it switches in between these. These both are moving in the exact same way, but I'm just hiding one of them, unhiding the other, so that I can use whichever one I want. It would be a lot more efficient now that I think about it to have this all on one image, but at the time I didn't I wasn't entirely sure of what I was specifically doing. So that's that. Just making sure. Nice, stream is healthy. Perfect. Okay, so going through, we then have this Newcastle layer that is isolated, and then we zoom out to the one over here, to this clip, just to transition to make it seem like I'm actually clicking and selecting him after purchasing him from the shop. Brief white flash, cropped in towards Newcastle, screen shakes, we had this pre-keyed explosion effect, or this pre-keyed at least ground explosion thing. And then I wanted to add Ainsley here saying a little bit spicy. And replace Newcastle's mouth with Ainsley's. So literally all I just did for that was over time, I just went with a mask, repositioning it constantly, and just making sure that it fit in the right areas. Then I also took the Persona, what is it? I think this is, the Persona 5 text green screen, and shook it around a little bit, then brought it down, and then I also added text on top saying dad has entered. Because, let's be honest, he's total dad material. I mean, I'm not even kidding, he literally actually is a dad canonically in Apex lore. So, we transition in. As someone who has a decent amount of experience on phone editing, this looks like rocket science. This isn't your normal CapCut type stuff. I'm gonna be completely real with you. How long did it take for you to master all of this? I spent at least a few years doing... What is it? So I spent a few years doing iPhone editing. Actually, no, not even a few years. I spent like 1 year just editing videos on my phone. Then I spent, I think, another 2 or 3 years just consistently using iMovie. And then using another 3, I think... Yeah, and then now I'm on like... This is my 4th or 5th year using Vegas Pro. And actually already my first year using After Effects. So the edit, like all of the knowledge is kind of compounded onto itself. Like having used Vegas first and then used After Effects, like it actually made things like a bit easier, in my opinion. Because I was already used to this, and getting used to After Effects actually was kind of a breeze. So, yep. And then afterwards, from this, what I also did too was when I transitioned this, I masked out the entire Apex Island. I masked out, I masked out this bit of Storm Point over here, so that the colors matched over here, and it made it seem like it was going up from there. And then I slowly introduced the background. If you look over here, Newcastle is still in this image because from the character select screen, and then over time we have the actual like ocean of Storm Point coming in. We zoom out, do some minor zoom ins as we get closer over to, what is it? Yeah, the wall. Zoom in again. Add a Prankum John meme. And really all I'm just doing here is really simple zoom ins. Hi stranger, how are you? Hello Shatpin96. Hello. Anyways, so as my friend was getting absolutely destroyed in this clip, I'm sorry, Sam, you got destroyed. Anyways, so as he, how do you make sure that zoom in and outs don't get repetitive? Over time, I just kind of like see for myself and just... Because the biggest thing within EXEs and making content in general is context. If you are able to get context down really well, and you're able to, like... Because the thing with editing too is this extends beyond editing EXEs. If you're, like, when you edit a video, you want to make sure that whatever you're editing, like, it's cohesive, you can actually watch it without puking internally, and saying, yeah, this makes sense, and just kind of treating your video as if you're watching from, as if you're watching from the lens of an audience member. I always try and make sure that I'm looking and seeing, okay, is my audience, like, is my audience not going to understand what's going on, or are they going to actually be able to perfectly view this fine? So, going through with that, we have this. I did some focuses on the gun clip over here, and even introduced a little bit of velocity editing, so that I could actually beat sync this to the song. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. Zooming into the gun, transforming it slightly, and velocity editing it. Then Bloodhound dies, I just zoom in on Bloodhound. I move this clip to the right and I do a slide to the right transition to the next clip, and as the shield battery is popped off, I add a little bit of shaking here and there. Then I focus in on the Newcastle ult. So what I do for this is, after zooming in and having that initial shake, we zoom in, and then I change the 3D perspective of it, and then still continue to zoom it in over time. And then at the end of it, I add a shake and zoom in, and that's pretty much all there is. I copy the exact same transforms to this next layer over here, which is just me going to After Effects and enabling Saber over the whole mask. And then what I also did over here too was I added like this sort of JoJo thing. I don't even know if it's JoJo. Just adding this thing with Newcastle, where he is... Jesus, I cannot get my words straight right now. I take this mask, right? I move it upwards. And I keep Newcastle cropped in the frame. Then I also add brightness and contrast. I changed it to black and white, and then added a gradient map over this. Added a tiny little bit of drop shadow, made some light rays coming from it, and then added blur mode curves and shake on top of that. And I did the exact same thing with this white color layer that's right behind it. So, and as we go through, we zoom in on me going over to ult onto my friend, add some shakes, we go ahead, knock it down, and we just keep going through with it. So all I'm doing right over here for this whole bit is just enhancing the effect that I did over here, and just continuing it. You think I can learn how to edit videos from scratch on my own, or should take some editing classes? I am completely self-taught, and I've taught myself editing from the ground up, just using iMovie and a bunch of other effects and everything. So honestly, like, even though it's taken me a good few years to get to the level where I'm at, you can absolutely teach yourself this stuff if you have the motivation. So honestly, I say go for it. But honestly, like, if you're not sure how to do something, there's no harm in searching up tutorials and figuring out what you like, or just figuring out how to do stuff. I had to do that all the time when I was editing, and yeah. So I just zoom in on the gun, and then I add a whole bunch more effects over here, add some chromatic aberration, add some glow into the arrows, and just move that in. And then I also add some glow on Rampart using a red solid layer on an ad track. And that's it. And then some more shaking, focused on my friend. And then, again, every time that I usually get a kill, I zoom in, I like add a meme or some other funny clip, and we keep going through it. So, more clips, adding the blue screen over here. What is it? Adding Patrick blue screen over here. And then zoom in and do a big shake for the next scene transition. So that's literally all there is to it, and that's how I usually edit memes into my videos. I just insert the clips, I zoom in usually to wherever the actual person is, and just keep going through with it. So I didn't even play that whole section, so...
My god, you're a fucking Giga Chad.
You fucking you bloody
So in the entire duration of those clips, I kept things simple, to the point. I didn't over-exaggerate the edits when there didn't need to be any over-exaggeration. Because again, biggest thing in editing is context. If your viewers don't understand what is happening in your video, you've already lost them. They're gonna switch to another video because they're not gonna be able to understand what the heck is going on in your video. So, now, continuing onwards, we have me with this whole no-reg clip. And then now the Spitfire clip comes. I pick up the Spitfire, zoom into it, isolating pretty much only the red colors, and then adding the Spitfire text with the drop shadow over here. All of this is in separate layers, just isolated with drop shadow and everything. Then I decided I wanted to go into Blender, and I wanted to do like a whole Spitfire thing over here where I was actually, where like, yeah, literally it's on fire. So that's what I had, and I added a massive amount of color correction, especially in After Effects. How long did it take for you to get a lot of the memes and soundtracks in your files? Oh, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and see. Music, properties. 24 gigs. Jesus Christ. So, actually, yeah, let me even just get, this is my SFX folder. 14 gigs. Christ. Oh yeah, that's another 7 on top of it. And my videos folder, how big is this? Okay, Jesus. Okay, well that's also including projects that I haven't transferred to other drives yet. The thing is, a lot of this I've just downloaded either from meme packs on the... When it comes to getting memes, if you're not sure what memes you want to get, just find some. Instagram is a really good resource. If you're able to download clips from Instagram, that's one great way to do it. If you find a meme compilation on YouTube, that also works great. Vine compilations too have a whole bunch of good ones. But again, you don't want to use anything that's like way too old or overused. And then just like any other obscure memes that you might find like feel like they would really work. As well as... Let me see. So yeah, we have... Yeah, shadow play is for getting like all of my gameplay clips and everything. Usually it just takes like a few days to get all my clips together, and then getting all the memes. I think this is like compounded over at least a good year or so of just pure memes and everything. But yeah, if you're able to find meme sound packs online, utilize them and just start building your own collection from the ground up. It's Senor Bello. Senor Bello funny. Anyways, and I maintain the sort of theme that the Spitfire is absolutely disgustingly OP. And I just maintain that idea. So immediately I transition in. I start adding clips, and I keep going through with it. After one kill, I add, what is it? Jesus, what's his name again? Yeah, Kiryu. I had Kiryu slamming the desk because that guy just died and did nothing from there. And it fits really well. I don't add another meme here because I felt like within that time frame it would have been a little bit too much. I shake a little bit, zoom in to me getting this guy from behind, and then focus on this guy slamming the desk.
Some viewers may find the following disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Target acquired.
So again, a lot of this is adding clips, zooming in where it needs to be, zoomed in, and just bringing the focus on the kill.
Disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
That's really all there is to most of these clips. Like, some of these zoom-ins are a little bit too much. I could probably actually replace that clip, but
See, now that's some bullshit.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Jesus! Oh my god, team, do something!
so that's all that there is in that section. There is nothing else other than just putting in the clips, focusing on parts, and zooming in where it needs to be. And then also just having every clip be color corrected in as consistently as possible. Then for this, I ended that on me dying from that team. And then to transition, adding a flash.
Newcastle is not that good. I don't even know if I want to play Newcastle anymore. You know what?
Okay, so now, this whole section. I wanted to start off the idea with people I wanted to start off this section by reintroducing the fact that Newcastle is still a really good legend. Anyways, I started off with downloading a whole bunch of videos, just seeing, okay, where can I find people saying that Newcastle is terrible?
With Newcastle and Apex Legends. Newcastle is
I shook them a little bit. What is it? So yeah, I shook them a little bit, added a little bit of... I desaturated them a little bit, added some color curves in the higher regions, and expanded all of the... What is it? Yeah. And then added a little bit of glow and a vignette, just to sort of give like this sort of dreamy look with each one of these clips. Then from there, I zoom out from that one singular clip and make it look like all of these clips are there in conjunction. And I also am utilizing, if I remember correctly, a warp fisheye effect. Yes. So, from there, I zoom out, aligned all of them together, and changed the mask so that they wouldn't just directly overlap. Was there ever a sound or meme that you couldn't find even if you searched for hours? Yes, plenty of times. And it is really annoying to deal with, but it has happened. Honestly. As unfortunate as it is, sometimes you just have to kind of deal with it, or even just ask your friends, like, hey, yeah. Oh, R5 reloaded. Nice. Anyways. Okay, so. And then I also had a bunch of these no clips that were coming in. I added a whole bunch of things just to distort them and make it seem like they were like glowing, if anything. So after adding the initial glows, I added distort RGB, warp bubble, and then warp chroma to really give like this sort of like energy effect with each one of these. And then I just moved them in specific ways throughout each clip, and then did big zoom out into this After Effects, into another After Effects clip. This one I won't break down though. As much as I think y'all would want it, I'm not going to break down this clip specifically for the fact that, like, yeah. Or, I think I might, let me change this preview half. Sorry. So, that's that clip. I wanted to include myself in it, doing this sort of finger snap with a power-up. And literally all it is it's a bunch of mesh tracking as well as puppet warping of these sort of vein things that I just, yeah. You know what? Screw it. Let me find the project. Open recent. Here we go. Finger snap. Okay, finger snap. So I started off with me looking back towards the camera. And also just keeping the bright. Yep. And then right as we get into the effect, I started by taking this rock texture. Or actually, no, that's not the one that I wanted. It is... Here we go. So the actual veins. So I started off with 4K footage of just this rock texture, then added a whole bunch of, turbulent displace effects to make it seem that it's like actually, that there's like a lot of energy coming from this. So that's the whole thing. There is I will actually find the Infected Veins by Film Riot. This whole tutorial is absolutely fantastic. Instead of using Mocha Pro, what I ended up using was puppet warps on my arm, because since I kept my arm in the same, camera's there, I'm used to it being right there. Since I kept my arm in the same position, right, I didn't need to actually mesh track it if I was rotating it. So I added a puppet warp here, puppet warp here, puppet warp here, and then just aligned those actual nodes with the tracking points that I held on my arm. So that's basically that.
Change from draft to hot.
So I'm gonna put this in the description of the video that this VOD is gonna go into, in case you want to learn how to do an effect like that. Jesus. Anyways, going back. So I added the finger snap, I added a bunch more anime lines. Wow, this is really not having fun with the resolution playback. Jesus Christ. So, and then I added some more glow effects and some shock waves. I added background cracks to this as well, isolating myself, and then added even more energy on top of that. So that is pretty much all there is to the finger snap thing. I will not go too in-depth with that, but that is basically what it is. Now, going forward, I zoom in, Gibby and Lifeline just get yeeted, and all that's here is it just transforms up, shakes a little bit, then shakes a lot, and then there's a little bit of 3D transformations there. Anyways. Going forward, we have this whole thing. So, we then have Newcastle, and the icon spins around, flashes a little bit. I have this a whole another layer just to control the brightness of the flash. Or actually, yeah, just rays specifically from that. That's all that there is to that. Then it flies in, does a bit of a spin backwards, and then it glows in. What is it? Yeah. Newcastle is actually masked a good bit, and then all I just did for this was increase the brightness and contrast a crap ton and then lowered it as well. And then added rays, make it seem like he was actually glowing for a split second. Then I added the Steam message thing over here. We're now transitioning from this whole intro sequence for this whole segment into the actual gameplay. And I'm just taking it even more of a notch upwards and just adding more stuff into it and just making it as cool as I possibly can. That's really all there is to this. Then we have more focus. Then we have more clips. A slight vignette that I added over the top, over the entire thing. And this entire time that I'm chasing Valkyrie, I add this meme where Valkyrie is crying for the police to help. Because of the idea that she's running away and she literally cannot do anything. Add a bit of a reload, keep things spicy, and transform it every year and then. And then, over here, there's a little bit of dead space, and then Valkyrie dies. And then afterwards, just to finish off that bit, I add...
Fuck you! I hope your whole
Alright, let me get it louder.
fuck you! I hope your whole family has a nice
that was
Christmas!
Yeah, so that is that. And I just added that meme in because honestly it felt like it fit. And then also I manually masked out the top of the death box for a long ass time. Actually, yeah, this one. And just kept making sure the position was animated well. So yeah, then we transition in. I give the bit of context. I'm using a shield battery. Enemy pops in. Add what is it?
Hello, Bozo.
Add that meme into it.
That's gonna die.
Why you bullying me?
Then kill that. Then I show that I killed the person. Turn to the right. Add another meme. Kill. And a scream effect, I think, on top of that. And I just keep going through with this. Yep. And that is that whole thing. I add 2 of the menacing thing. What is it? The menacing characters from JoJo. On top of this. Add new subtitles, and then I also add a white solid that I masked to make it seem really cool, and then I also added Aura Perspective, Shake, Blur No Curves, this glow aura thing that actually was really cool, and just changing the phase of it over time so that it seems like it was more rainbow, and then more stuff on top of that. And then I also added a fisheye effect in chromatic aberration on me getting that Pathfinder, just to like sort of make it seem that it's like just to make it give it the idea that I powered up when I was killing Pathfinder. So that's that. There is Valkyrie over here flying in.
Oh, what the? I did. Oh my god,
And that's it. That is quite literally in 4 minutes 20, after an hour and 15 explaining, that is all that there is to me making my EXEs. That is all that there is. We have intro sequences and just insane over-the-top editing, actual clips, or like this whole good portion. Another transition. Yeah, so we just, yeah. Literally all I do is I have a bunch of different sequences for actual clips, all controlled by different songs, which then help to in turn control the mood. And then I just go from there. And in some parts where I want to transition, I add crazy over-the-top edits, and I just go from there. I'm gonna be completely honest, when I was anticipating doing the stream, I thought it would be a lot longer, actually. I'm not even gonna lie. So, yeah. Hey, AJ, how did you do the KO meme at the end? Street Fighter KO green screen, adding a shake, and then... Actually, let me see. I don't think this is... Okay, it's from Footage Crate. Footage Crate has a sort of Street Fighter-ish, yeah. Footage Crate is a sort of Street Fighter KO effect that works really nicely, and honestly just looks really sick. So, yeah, that's basically that, and, yeah. So, I'm gonna keep this open, I think, for another, like, 5-10 minutes or so while I close stuff out, because that is literally all I had planned. I know that it's random, but PC specs, please? I don't think they're in the description. Okay, I don't think I programmed my YouTube bot for that, but I have an i9 9900K with a 2080 and 32 gigabytes of memory. Those are my PC specs. Okay. In the meantime, I think I might order a burrito or something, or get some hot food in my system. Okay, so I'm thinking next time I do a YouTube stream, I'm planning on doing actual Apex gameplay, since I haven't done that in like a hot minute on here. Bro, AJ, I've been recently wanting to get a GPU for my system. Hey, nice. That's awesome. Did you actually get a GPU? Because I remember on Twitch you were mentioning that you're gonna get it for some time. Also, this area might be a better place for my laptop. I can figure out how that'll work. How'd you get the money for this? Working hard and Christmas sales. That's literally it. Like, getting really good Cyber Monday deals helps a lot. I'm not even kidding. That and my... yeah. So... you recently got a new desk for my king. It's so good. Nice! That's awesome! That is awesome, my friend. That is absolutely awesome. Okay. Metal Gear. Might play a little bit of, might play a little Metal Gear later. I'll see. Did you get it from Micro Center? No. If you've ever heard of PC Part Picker, Benny, you can go on there and you can order all of your parts from different websites, and it compares each of them for the best price whatsoever. I don't know if AJ lives near a Micro Center. I do not. I do not live near a Micro Center whatsoever. I got all my parts online and just got them shipped to my house and built my PC myself. So, yeah, that is that. I will stop recording now. And, yeah. That's where I got mine. Okay, I don't know if I heard something weird or if that was from something else. Whatever. That's real where I got mine. I have my PC Part Picker list with my current system specs too. Yeah, but that's my system specs right now in a nutshell. So, yeah. So, if no one has any other questions, then I am going to go ahead and just, let me see. Automatic chapters, allow embedding, how many viewers like the stream, live chat and live chat replay, redirect, I'm trying to figure out where the... Okay. Well, if this VOD turns into a... Okay. Simple rundown, troll 700k with 32 gigs of DDR5. Fortunately, I got it when DDR5 was at a really high price hike. Are you going to do a Modern Warfare 2 EXE for the beta, like how you did with Battlefield 2042? I have no idea. Honestly, right now, I'm taking sort of a slight break while I get adjusted to college. And I'm just trying to keep myself, like... Yeah. So that's what it is right now. So I'm a tad bit busy because of college, but what I'm trying to do is, yeah, just trying to make sure I get accustomed to it as best as I can, and I'm getting back into the swing of things, sort of. I want to start by working on some old projects and getting the tutorial video out before I go back to doing EXEs, and also getting a Rust video out, because that has been in the backlog for absolutely forever. So that's that. How's the college work? College work is going great so far. So far I haven't really had that much, which is awesome. It has been super manageable. Alright, well, if there's going to be no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and tune out and call it a night. I hope you guys have really enjoyed the stream. Yeah, this junior year is probably the best I've done academically. Lowest I've gone. No, it's a 94. Hey, nice job. So, if there's going to be no other questions, then I'm going to leave this VOD up so that if anyone wants to look back at it while this is uploaded, they're more than welcome to do so. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream right here, and I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic night. So, peace, y'all.